Definitely try to make myself way to the bed here and there, but I don't want to wake you and get you out of your routine.
I don't think I'm ready to share a bedroom.
Just ask why, or like,
I'm not feeling a connection here, and so I definitely don't think I will be comfortable sharing a bed with you.
Seriously, I thought them bringing in older cast would mean that there would be less toxicity and less unnecessary drama. But I cannot continue to sit through Michelle and David's conversations. That is frustrating. That man has the patience of a saint, because by now I would have checked out. I would have told them no amount of penalty is worth me staying on TV for this. I'm not having it. It's either you find me somebody else or I'm out, because nobody deserves to be disgraced like that. And also, I understand Madison saying she has a type. She has a type that she, a type of guy she's used to dating. She's not the only one who brought this up. Camille also brought this up, but the way she talks to this man and nitpicks at him, it's like, if you don't like him, or if you've got the ick, just say so and just keep it moving. You could have easily bought him boxers if you didn't like the fact that he wore boxers with fruit on them, instead of you continuing to sort of talk down to him. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 6. Oh, poor David. I really feel sorry for him, because nobody deserves to go through this. I remember I'm a very nice person, how she terrorized her husband, and that young man went through a lot, and now it seems David is at the receiving end of Michelle's wrath because she didn't get the husband she expected. So Juan takes him for a male bonding session. Apparently, it seems they went to the sauna, they had an ice bath, and they were really in a very good space. They were very happy, and he seemed to be smiling, because he said, oh, finally I get to smile. He's been run down because he's really trying to make his marriage work, and nothing he seems to do will impress Michelle. So it's nice that the guys are actually looking out for him. You have and Ikechi, they're having conversations. I've always said this, Ikechi is very performative, that's my opinion, because they're asking each other, do you want children? And it's like, this is one of the things they should have been asking earlier on, day one. They should have asked each other, after the wedding, they should have been asking each other, do you want children? How many children do you want? So I don't get how this is what they're asking each other, and what are you very proud of, or what have you accomplished this year? And you have her talking about, her business and how she's expanding her business, and it's like, oh my God, do we all remember that woman Gina and her dog that ended up falling in love with Hank? She went on about her business. We do not need to hear about people's businesses. We want to know why you're on the show and what you're going to do to make your marriage work. As far as I'm concerned, my favorites, Camille and Tom, they go for a salsa dance, and he really is trying. This is why I say they remind me of Brianna and Vincent, because we all remember how frustrated Vincent was when you couldn't pick up the salsa dance because he really wanted to impress his wife. And you have Tom saying the same thing, that he really wants to impress his wife because he really likes his wife. So he's going to try his best. And he really was trying. You could see him counting the steps. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it's the cutest thing ever. You then have Michelle and David meet up. I assume the producers forced them to meet up to at least do one activity, because they must have booked a lot of things and they were not going to waste their money just because she was throwing a tantrum. And for her to say, I'm going to come out of my head and I'm going to try and sort of be adventurous because I didn't get the husband I wanted. And it's like, what did you want in a husband? We need Pastor Carl to bring the receipts. He needs to bring the laptop again, and he needs to read out exactly what you asked for and tell you why they matched you with David, because David doesn't deserve this. He needs to be recast with somebody else. They need to annul this wedding and allow him to find somebody else, because it's a waste of time for him to continue to go through this frustration. They had them on these sort of paddle boats, not paddle boats, on the surfboards where you paddle standing, and they really tried. David really tried his best, but he couldn't, continue to stand up. He kept falling over, and one would have expected her to make light of it and see the humor in that, but she's hard to please. You have Juan and Carla. They have their date, so they go out for their dinner date and by the sea, and Juan is sort of saying, he had an amazing time with David. He actually forgot, that he was there with his wife. And Carla didn't seem to like that. She didn't seem to like that. And she sort of said, oh, you forgot about me. And it's like, well, you're newlyweds. You haven't been having a relationship prior to this. So I would get how he would forget about you. I don't think he meant any harm. I think he just forgot because he was so excited and he was happy to be with someone. Camila, girl, I was counting on you. Don't let me down. Please don't. Anyway, so you have Camille and David. They wake up, they're getting dressed to go out. And Camilla's sort of saying that, she's used to guys with a bit of R&B, a little bit of swag. And David seems more suburban. She's used to city guys. And it's like, well, at the stage you're at, when you're getting married and wanting to start a family, maybe the suburbs are it. And then once you've raised your kids, you can go back to the city. But I don't think the city is the best place if you're sort of settling down and starting a family. That's just my personal opinion. And so I hope this is not going to be a problem of her saying that, she's not his type, because I would really hate that to be a sticking point, because David seems like he's a very caring and accommodating person. He wants to know that he's making his wife as comfortable as can be. They spoke about, their coordination of clothes, the fact that she still hasn't worn, the fancy lingerie she showed him came up. And he said his game, whenever she's ready, he's ready. He doesn't want to push her to do anything. So whatever they're going to do, they're going to do it at her pace. And she seems very comfortable with it. I think they really get along very well. I think the producers are going to try and bring in a sticking point, as they do with every couple. There's never been a couple on Married at First Sight who are smooth sailing, who don't have an issue that needs to be rehashed and rehashed and rehashed. Anyway, we have Carla and Juan. Carla's still upset that Juan said he forgot about her. So he went swimming and she didn't bring him a bag. So he's walking around the resort with his clothes in a clear bag. And it's like, this is a new level of petty, Carla. This is petty. I don't get why you're doing it. And then Madison and Alan, they go for this spiritual cleansing. I had a spiritual cleansing when I was in Bali. I highly recommend it. The way that Alan was really into it. I think Madison was just trying to get along, just to be cooperative, just not to embarrass herself on TV. But it seems David did most of the stuff and he was more into it than she was. She was just a silent observer, which I give her respect for. At least she didn't say, oh, don't touch me, don't. No, she sat there, she supported him go through this, because this is something he wanted to go through. Whatever she was comfortable with, she participated in. Whatever she wasn't, she didn't participate in. But it was really nice to see them work as a couple, and it was really cute. So I hope they continue to do things that make both of them happy. Yes, they were both called out, that David thinks a lot, and she also needs to understand that even though she's a powerful woman, there's certain things that she has a stronger power within her, or something like that, I think was what she was saying. I think that was cute. I think it was really nice that they did something that was sort of relaxing and allowed them just to be, and wasn't sort of intense conversations all the time. You have poor David and Michelle. I think the producers have given her a warning that it's either you participate in this honeymoon or you go home, because suddenly she's taking part in activities and it's like, what's changed? So they go for a sushi roll making class or whatever, and she wants to do it, the guy lets her do it, and then she's starting to sort of be nitpicky. You could tell she wasn't happy, because they said, oh, David, do you want to do it? And he said, okay, fine, he volunteered to do it. But the way she kept staring at him and the comments on the looks, you could tell she didn't want him to do any better. It seems like everything for her is a competition. That's the impression that I get, that everything for her is competitive sport, and she needs to be the best at every single thing that she does. They sat down and they had their food, and it was actually surprising that she suddenly started answering questions about, her family, how she grew up, because she asked him, he was talking about his grandmas and how, they've always encouraged him to have raw food, and he has always been against it. But after having tried the sushi, he might be on board. And so she asked, are your grandparents still around? And he said one of them, the other one is late. And so it was interesting that when he reciprocated and sort of asked the same question, she was actually responsive and actually gave more detail. That was shocking for me, that she spoke about her family growing up, how her grandma lived next door, and then when her grandma moved away, her dad lived next door, and then she's since moved from there to Chicago because she doesn't want to be in a small town. It seems something happened with her family, and she really would rather not be there. So it was interesting to hear. It was interesting to hear and actually see them have a conversation that didn't lead to tension or arguments. Carla, you're showing a bit of immaturity. There's no need for it. There's no need. Because Carla is 34, and why is she behaving like she's Madison? I don't get it, because Madison is the youngest. Anyway, she's still in her feelings because apparently Juan hasn't apologized. And it's like, how does he apologize if he doesn't know that you're upset? Maybe just let him know that you have a conversation, have an adult conversation, sit down, let him know how you feel, and let him know that you expect an apology, and that's it. And the two of you can move on. There's no need for you to make such a big deal out of nothing. Anyway, they go for this water sort of photo shoot, and it looked amazing. It really did. I'm a swimmer. I can't say I can. Well, I can try and float, but hey, so they were doing this sort of underwater pictures and stuff, and it was nice to see how supportive Juan was, because at first you could tell Carla was fed up and she wanted to go, and he sort of was very supportive to the extent that she decided to stay on, and they did a lot more than she actually expected, I think, because at one point she was looking at the producers and sort of saying, I want to go, and they're thinking, we've wasted money on this, you have to do something. So the fact that Juan supported her a lot, allow them to take these pictures. They looked amazing. They really did. And so hopefully they can sit down for a conversation and discuss the issue that they have in regards to him making that comment, and they can move on and sort of continue to enjoy their honeymoon. Ikechi and Emma go for a dinner date. You know, they're talking about food. She says she loves food. She loves food. She loves food. That we understand. So they were sort of trying to ask about traditions. What do you do about Christmas? And what do you do about Thanksgiving? And so, you know, and also they were talking about the type of relationships that they want to mold themselves after. And so, you know, Emma is saying that no, she doesn't have any relationship that she would want to sort of mold herself after. She just knows that, you know, she wants to be in a happy relationship. And he said he wants to mold himself after his brother's relationship. And this is why I keep saying this man is performative. Why are we hearing this? Why are we hearing this? I don't understand why we need to continue to go over this about him saying predictable stuff. Can he just be organic and not sort of be very performative? And I'm surprised that Emma hasn't yet called him out, unless she's going to call him out later. But something is not making sense. And then, oh my God, my heart is breaking for Thomas and Camille. Because Thomas, I think, was raised in a sort of white household, it seemed. And so he didn't have that many sort of black influences around him. So we are a product of our environment. And sadly for him, Camille says she's dated people that have more sort of black influences. And it's like, that shouldn't be such a big deal. That really shouldn't. You, at the end of the day, you want a partner who's loving, caring, compassionate, empathetic, someone who's understanding. And so if he is showing up as that for her, everything else he can learn. If she was open to the idea of getting married to someone who's from a mixed heritage, why can't she then see the good in him? He said this is not the first time he's heard it. He's heard it in previous relationships. The difference is, at the moment, this is his wife. This is someone he sees a future. This is someone he's developing feelings for. And so her saying that to him will make the walls go up. If she's not careful, it will make the walls go up, because what's the point of him allowing himself to let go? What's the point of him sort of developing feelings for someone who might walk out? And I think this is his problem, in the sense that he's worried that I am developing feelings for this woman. They are getting stronger by the day. And so if she doesn't see me as an ideal partner, if I'm not her type, what is going to happen? And so this is, I think, the battle that he's having with himself. And I'm surprised that we didn't get to hear the conversation. We were only shown, you know, Camille's back as she walked off and her going into a room. And it makes me feel like the producers are just looking for drama when it comes to Camille and Thomas, because there's no drama at the moment. Am I the only one who's getting bored of the Ikechi and M situation, in the sense that they are really trying to perfect themselves into this amazing couple that is happy and is at peace, and something is not sort of relatable about them, something is not making sense. They have conversations about their love languages and the fact that, you know, they love that they were able to share that. They love that they're open and they're getting to learn and know each other and knowing each other's wants and needs. And it's like, can we talk about something else? Can we just have a conversation about something that doesn't seem like it's manufactured, or doesn't seem like you're trying to pander to someone? Because I think there's way more things that could be done. She was tying a headscarf, she was struggling, and then I think, wanted to be the ideal partner and sort of step in and save the moment. And it's just like, nah. Just relax and sit back and see what's happening, and step in when needed or step in when it's appropriate. Don't try and play the perfect husband. We have seen so many seasons of Married at First Sight to know when someone is pandering and someone is being organic. You have Carla and Juan. They keep going on about this thing because Juan, I think, has spent more time with David, and so Carla's still in her feelings. She's still feeling some type of way. And I like the fact that Juan called her out and said, you don't need to be passive aggressive. I'm not a mind reader. Tell me what's going on and then we'll work on it. And if you keep quiet and if you keep being passive aggressive, you're going to get a reaction from him, and you might not like the reaction that you get from him. So I like the fact that he told her, you need to be honest and you need to speak your mind and you need to tell me where you stand so that I can know and appreciate what's happening, because I'm never going to be able to read your mind unless you tell me what's happening. And I was like, oh, good for you, good for you. So they were able to sort of hash out the issue with David, and the fact that, Juan said he forgot about her when he was with David. I think they're going to move on. Hopefully this is the last time. Producers, we don't need to keep seeing this. And then my faves, Thomas and Camille. They come out sort of holding hands, and I feel, this is what I feel like they had the conversation about her type, and then after having the conversation about her type, they must have had another conversation off camera and sort of addressed their concerns in regards to her type. And so you had Camille sort of saying, she's grown up, or she's been used to sort of dating a certain type of guy, and she's grown up with more black influences than her husband's, and so she's finding it a bit difficult, it seems, to sort of comprehend how to move forward or how to sort of make things work. And so I like the fact that Thomas was able to bring up his experience, that growing up, he struggled a lot with people sort of telling him, because he was biracial, that he's not black enough. And then the white kids would say he's not white enough. So he struggled with identity. And so this is something that is a sore spot for him and something that sort of challenges him. Yes, he's learned that he doesn't need to pick a side. It seems his parents taught him not to pick a side, not to say, oh, I'm black or I'm white or I'm this. I'm just me, and I have to do what makes me happy and what makes the people around me that love me happy. And so Camille, I appreciate the fact that she said that, she's used to dating a certain type of guy, but that guy hasn't worked for her. So she's going to have to understand that just because the packaging doesn't look like what she's used to dating, she has to look at the qualities, and she recognizes the qualities that he comes with, that this is an amazing man. And so she has to appreciate that part of him and sort of overlook the other things, because with time she will learn to, they will grow on her. But the what comes, the most important bits, he's empathetic, he's compassionate, he's caring, he's someone who's a hard worker, he's someone who's always going to put her first. These are important things to her. And so she has to ask herself, do you want someone who's more hip hop and R&B, as you said, and doesn't care about you, or do you want someone who thinks you are his world and worships the ground you walk on? And I think Thomas would be that for her. And so I would highly encourage her that she sticks to this man, because she might not find someone like him again. And there are women on Married at First Sight who've been lucky to win the lottery and be matched with someone who is an ideal partner. And I think Camille is one of those. So she has to make the most of it. I remember in the after party saying that, Thomas and Camille, they bickered. They're like an old married couple. And I think this is something that will work for them, because they really are cute together. So they had a couples mixer, and for me, after season 17, I don't think couples mixers are it, because we all saw how season 17 cast were able to sort of come up with plans and how they manipulated the producers and the viewers and the experts themselves. So I believe that they need to go back to sending couples on individual honeymoons, and if a couple is struggling, instead of getting other people to chime in, they actually need the experts to chime in and give their input, because otherwise it doesn't make sense having couples that are still finding themselves, have people that are also finding themselves give input. The conversation was very interesting, because at times it comes across as people are trying to outshine each other. So they were talking about what was good about the honeymoon, what was bad about the honeymoon, or what they had learned from their honeymoon. And you had Camille bring up the issue about her type, and you could see that poor Thomas was very uncomfortable But then I think he seemed to settle down when he realized that it wasn't just Camille sort of going through this. There are other couples that are struggling with the same thing. So the idea that people are struggling to sort of see how they align with their partner, because most people, when they, it's love at first sight, or they are attracted to something physically and then they get to know the person later. Whereas at marriage at first sight, you're married to someone, then you have to work on the attraction and also getting to know the person at the same time. So Thomas was able to relax when he realized that they aren't the only couple that's struggling with that. Juan brought up their issues about communication and wanting to have honest conversations. Obviously, this stems from the situation where he forgot that he had a wife. Alan spoke about their ceremony and how they seem to sort of be connected when they're going through one of those ceremonies, and how he's appreciative of the fact that Madison still will participate even if it's not something that she's comfortable with. And on her part, Madison spoke about Alan and this sense of dressing. And it's like, if you marry a man that has horrible taste in clothes, you can always readjust him to be the man that you want. I said this last week when I spoke about Keith and Christina, and how Christina was able to sort of give him the black wife effect. So if Madison is not happy, she can always do that. With Thomas and Michelle, they spoke about the fact that they've had 2 very good days. So they kept harping on those 2 very good days, 2 very good days. And it's like, have the producers told you to only focus on that? Make it make sense. You could see that everybody around the table was not buying what they were selling. And then they were asked, what was good or bad about, your relationship, or what do you want to tone down? And everybody sort of hid away from that, because it's not a good idea to sort of criticize your partner in front of everyone. Obviously with Michelle, she said she wants to come out of her head because she seems to stay in her head a lot. And she said the other thing that she brought up, she'll keep it between David and herself, because they've had a conversation about it. And it's like, yeah, it's always going to be about you anyway, sweetheart, so we know. Juan said, we can't say at the moment because we have to go back home and sort of get into the day-to-day life, and then we'll see what works and what doesn't work. And so it was cute to see people sort of, they're learning from one another, but at the same time, I have reservations given the history of what's happened since they've started sort of getting couples to sort of honeymoon in the same place and sort of spend time together. Because before, when they're on their honeymoons, they didn't meet the other couples, and now it seems something that they do a lot, and I feel it's not a good idea. Oh my God, Thomas is going to kill me with his sweetness. So after, the group date, well, I think he went out for dinner with Camille. You then have him sort of run in and tell her to wait outside. She waits outside, and he has rose petals everywhere. It was cute. It was the cutest thing. I love that she was very appreciative of that, and she actually acknowledged his efforts, and it was sweet. And so she was saying, I brought the lingerie, but I'm not going to put it on because, I want it to be organic and whatever. And it's like, she has it. We can see it. We can see it because you could see it in the corner of her sleeve that she was wearing it. So she was excited, but she wasn't going to be foolish and do anything silly on camera. So I get it. I really get it. I love their connection. I love the fact that they're moving at their own pace and they're not following anybody else's lead, and they're just doing what is right for them as a couple. In the morning, you have everyone is packing up, it's time to go back to Chicago, and people are nervous. Everyone is nervous because they don't know how sort of they're going to sort of adjust, or what sort of hurdles are going to appear along their way till decision day. You have David sit down for a conversation with Michelle, and Michelle doesn't know her front from her back, really. She really is confused.com, because she was complaining when he slept on the settee that she didn't like him sleeping out on the settee couch or whatever. And yes, she's saying to him, I'm not comfortable with us sharing the same bed. So which is it? Are you not comfortable sharing a bed with him, or do you want him to stay in the bed? Because if he doesn't stay in the bed, then that means he's not married to you. Which is it? Make up your mind. You have Madison and Alan. Apparently, Alan had just received news that his friend passed away, so he was really upset and very miserable, and they'd taken time out to sit outside. And so Michelle was there to support him. And when he came back into the room, he was very appreciative of the fact that she really was a support system for him and was really there for him. And he said, that's all I needed, someone to sit beside me while I was processing what was going on, because this person that passed away, I was with him 2 days prior to us getting married. So to suddenly hear that they've passed on is something that is devastating. You have all the couples go downstairs and get ready to leave. Everyone is very nervous. They keep talking about how nervous they are. They then, catch their flights and go back to Chicago. And when they get there, they're given apartments. So they always get apartments anyway. I think it's only season 1 of Married at First Sight where they lived in one of the spouses' accommodation, and then since then they've been living in sort of provided neutral environment. I think because there was a lot of fallout in season 1 where I've forgotten her name, she fell out with her husband and then she kicked him out and whatever. So I think this is why they've always decided to give them neutral environment. So they have them all sort of walking around instead of just inspecting their new accommodation. You have Ikechi, and they're sort of having a conversation because Ikechi is worried that he's now having to wake up first thing in the morning to walk her dog because he's the early riser. And it's like, well, if you don't want to walk it, you're not being forced to walk it. Pay a dog walker to come and walk it. It's not such a big deal. Or just let her know you are not comfortable walking the dog and see if you can do something else, and she will have to wake up early to walk her own dog. It's not that big a deal. You have Alan and Madison have another conversation again. Madison is moaning that, she has had time to think, she has had time to reflect, and there are things that she wants to sort of bring up. So she brings up the fact that, she wants someone who takes pride in their presentation, who takes pride in how they sort of appear in front of her. And Alan is sort of saying, yeah, well, it's something that is willing to change. It's something that is willing to work on. And that's all she needs. She can then do the work to sort of get him ready, because at the end of the day, he's got bag, she's got bag. So between the two of them, they can help him improve on his wardrobe. She spoke about wanting someone who works out. And it's like, what? You want David then? Make it make sense for him to try and justify to say, my job is quite physical, when I move about and I do ABC, so that is strenuous because at times I do sweat. And it's like, she's just saying she wants a gym boy. That's it. She wants a gym boy, and that's it. She's not willing to compromise. Well, maybe she's willing to compromise, but I have a feeling, because I heard that there was a wife swap, and I have a feeling that Madison and David are going to end up together. That's the impression that I get. And it's never worked out great on Married at First Sight when people partner swap. So I don't know why they think this would suddenly work if the experts didn't think they were sort of ideal to partner them up. I don't know how they think they can suddenly partner up. Camille and Thomas remind me of Bliss and Zach from Love is Blind, in the sense that they appear to be highly intelligent people, but also they seem to be people that are sort of used to sort of living within a certain confined space, within a certain way of doing stuff. Their little conversation could have easily triggered somebody, but the fact that they were very understanding and they were sitting there and they're actually paying attention, because you had Thomas saying to Camille, I am someone who sadly cannot read your mind. So if there's something worrying you, let me know. And if it's something I need to work on, let me know so that I can do the work. The same for you. If there is anything worrying me, let me know. Because you can see that these people are two people who put themselves in a track and are on their way to decision day and life after decision day. And so they're trying to get themselves to decision day without any doubt. That's the impression that I get from the two of them, that they want to make sure that they have all the information that will allow them to make an informed decision on the day they sit down with the experts. And so the fact that they're constantly reminding one another, constantly checking in with one another is something I love. I adore them. You can tell I really do like them. Anyway, I can't wait to see their journey. Even when they're talking about themselves on After Party, you can see that there's a lot of endearing, sort of affectionate ways that they speak about one another, which is amazing. I really love them. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 5. Bye guys.